Okay, so last video we're going to show setting a G55 work offset for a different thickness material. Instead of clamping a different thickness material in here, I'm just going to pretend we've got a different thickness by using this spacer block here. We're going to touch off our Z. We're going to touch off our Z to that. So X and Y position is the same because we're using the fixed point relative to the vise. Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll close the door. I'm going to set my coordinate system to G55. Notice when I do that, that sets my absolute and relative to be the same right now because my G55 is 0. My G54 has a value, my G55 does not. Okay, so G55 is active. And what we're going to do is we will pick up, and just to illustrate that it doesn't matter which tool I have in there, well, we'll do that in a minute. So we're going to leave our tool 2 in here. We're going to turn on the spindle, activate jog, do the same thing we did before. I'm going to come down just a little bit at a time. And if you get right down here, you can see the gap there. Come down just a little bit at a time until we just start cutting. Nope, I went too far. That's good though. That's why you clamp things down. But that is our 0 position. So we're going to call that our 0 position. Yes, that's why you clamp things down, so they don't go spinning wildly out of control inside the machine. All right, so we're going to be kicked off of here in a second. Okay, so we are going to go to coordinate systems, setup, and for our G55, we're going to set this to the same value as our relative position, minus 0.8150, and apply that. And we say OK. Our actual position is 0 for our G55, and relative to our work system is minus 0.815. If I activate my G54, it shows about a ½ inch above the block, which is where I am. Okay. Let's remember that number, 0.5866. So let's pick up tool 1. Okay, and now I'm going to go to .5866. And it'll feed down. It's feeding down at the feed rate. So we'll go ahead and let it do that. And this is the last feed rate it was programmed with, which looks like about 15 inches a minute or so. This is where distance to go is active, telling us got 1.2, 1.1, 0.5, 4, 1, 0, there we are. So if our offsets were set correctly, this should be just barely getting the block under. Look at that, just barely gets the block under, just like it did with tool number 1. And if I set this to G55, G55 was the top of that block. Again, absolutely perfect. Okay, so that is setting tool and work offsets. Now, if I need to add a tool, all I need to do is touch the tool off to the probe. If I'm going to add a tool, so let's say I'm going to add tool number 5. So I have tool number 5 in here. Tool number 5 happens to be a 1/8 inch flat. Okay, so let's say I want to add a tool number 5. So the rest of my tools are all touched off. We'll go here to tools, set up library. We'll come to tool number 5, station 5. Type is end mill, so 1/8. Diameter of 0.125. Apply that. Select OK. Now, very important for the coordinate system, I'm going to set the coordinate system to work. Okay. And now I'm going to Tools, set up Tool Wizard. I've already defined a reference height, which I did. And I don't want to set any of the other tools off. I just want to set up tool number 5. Okay, this doesn't know that I have a tool in station 5. Oh, I failed to configure the ATC. So now I've got a tool in station number 5. There we are. And I'll hit next. Hand wheel jog is active. We'll open the door and place the probe. Right here. Come down. And over. And just want to make sure that the tool is clean. Remember, the tip of the tool has to make good electrical contact with the probe. So we want to make sure all this stuff is nice and clean. Come down. Make sure the light is coming on. And now we'll tiptoe down so the light comes on. There we go. Go over here and hit next. I'm done setting up tools for now. Cover the probe and check this out. We'll go back to our G55 coordinate system. Tool number 5 is in there. Bring this down to, we'll handle jog this on Z down to about 0. There we are, handle jogged to 0. Tool 5, which we just touched off, handle jogged to 0 with our G55 coordinate system. And look at that. Perfectly offset onto our block. Okay. So there's your tool touch off system. Do your work coordinate system using the blank tool to the probe on a repeatable part of the machine, okay, like the vice jaw. Set your other tools up with the work coordinate system. With the work coordinate system set to work. Do the touch offs to your probe. Use a tool to find the distance between the probe and the top of your material for each of your other for each of your other tools or each of your other pieces. And as long as you're using the same XY position, you can add or remove tools, replace a broken tool just by touching off the exact tool that you need to touch off. And that's our system.